Um, my name is EKA Kangro. I'm the Dean of Fine Arts Faculty of Estonian Academy of Art, and I'm very happy to welcome you all in this intro information hour, especially because it's quite a special moment in our MA Contemporary Art curricula. Today you will have the current head of the curricula, Kristaps Ankans, there. Kristaps can wave. Kristaps actually has been the head of the curricula for 2 years, and we have this nice fresh format where the head of the curricula is rotating constantly, normally after every 2 or 3 years. We can be sometimes a bit flexible. And the other important person here today is Anu Vahtra, who is going to be the head of the curricula from this spring semester. So I'm having this honor to be in between of the important change. So just as a quick warm-up before I will give the stage to Kristaps, I would very quickly introduce a bit of Estonian Academy of Arts generally, and I hope to be quick. I have an official PowerPoint to share with you, some nice photos, but I would like to also introduce myself with few lines. I have been working in EKA by now 12 years. First I was working as a assistant professor and then professor of the installation and sculpture, and this is my 5th year to be a Dean of Fine Art. And this program that I'm so glad that you're interested in is a little risk project that I did when I started to be a Dean. So it is international parallel program to the Estonian language MA of Contemporary Art, and I designed it together with colleagues, and we put lots of enthusiasm and desire into it, and before we start to introduce it, actually a very big part of this curricula is I think in the hands of the students who participate in it. So we really want to make this this important MA time for our students, the future artists, or the already current artists, as a great cooperative time, coaching each other and so on. So, but Kristaps will come with it later. So I quickly share the screen. And make this warm-up presentation of EKA. I hope it will go nicely. So here we are. Some nice numbers. Statistics is always good. We think that we are 107 years old. So EKA has had quite many states and names coming from Estonian First Republic time, and then we are Soviet time, and now, of course, already totally different institution today. It is rather big academy actually, because we are autonomic. We are not part of any other bigger university, but we have 4 faculties. I have to learn how to change the slides. We have 1,200 students. Actually, I think it's more today. It's more like 1,300 by now, around. Quite a big academic staff, which is actually great because students can have comments from very, very many different experts. We do have an increasing number of international students, and we have very big mobility, lots of exchange students visiting EKA, and also our students going abroad. then those 4 faculties that I already mentioned. Art is the fine art faculty, then architecture, which is having actually 2 main curriculums, architecture, 3, urban studies and then in interior design. Then design faculty, which is the biggest one in EKA, almost half students actually study in design faculty. They have lots of nice workshops, lots of labs, the same for architecture. So our fine arts students are also very welcome to go to the material research labs or all the digital VR labs. But I guess today most of art academies have them. Art research is a faculty where there are also curatorial study students and art theory students, art history students, but also the students of restoration are there. Here you can see the curriculums of the other faculties. Our fine art faculty is a great friend with architecture, so we do lots of cooperative projects. Then design with very rich workshops, as I mentioned already. And also new curricula are coming ahead there. Then our faculty, fine arts, we have in BA animation curricula, photography separately, and then curricula called art, which has 3 directions: installation, sculpture, graphic arts, and painting. And then BA scenography, which in our faculty is not so much serving the theaters or stage or film. Also they of course learn it, but it's more independent art format even. And then MA animation is separately, and then contemporary art, the curricula we are presenting right now, which has lots of possibilities. Later on, Kristaps will explain how exactly are those art formats presented there. It's not new media mentioned here, but actually we also have a strong new media department and new media studios. Then art culture, which focuses in art history and art theory, art research, and then conversation and heritage studies, which they are also very active and actually bringing lots of additional information into the academy. Then there is a nice list of all the workshops here. If you are more interested about the technical facilities, then we will come back to it later, and you can ask about the specific studios. Yeah, here you can see the blacksmith studio, for example, and there is a fashion design studio, textile printing, scenography, black box studio, and then new media sound studio. Our new media mainly focuses in sound installation somehow. It's the main interest of the students, so that's why this is so much presented. Digital labs. Then of course international collaboration is big, lots of Erasmus Plus projects, also cooperative projects with other academies and universities from around. Also we are very active in other art academies networks like KUNO, the Kunstnord, the Nordic Baltic Art University Art Academies network, but also Cumulus and Cirrus, which are more about design. Here is a slide about EKA's building, which is now around, it's the 3rd year that we are using it, already 4th when we look at the year numbers, and it's a very nice, beautiful author piece of Ku, the moon architects. Some beautiful photos of the building, but of course we are kind of squatting the house because this is the trend in, I think, northern art academies, that we will have wonderful buildings, but not always so easy to make studio practice there. So together with students, we are kind of squatting the house a bit. So that was the quick run through this PowerPoint. And now I would be happy to give word to Kristaps, and I will stay with you all the way. So if there are some specific questions to me, I'm there to answer. But please, Kristaps.
Thank you, Kirke, for the introduction. So as Kirke mentioned, my name is Kristaps Sansans, and I've been for a while running this MA. So today I will introduce how this MA operates, a little bit of the structure of the program, a bit of the student activities, exchanges. I will try to go it kind of like in very good rhythm, that we have time for the further on a bit of information from the Kirke about the entry rules, and then I will give the word to Johannes and Sophie that they give a little bit in insights from the students' perspective. And then we'll have a bit of time for the quick Q&A. Apologies. So I want to introduce with the EKA and Tallinn as well, because I'm someone from outside. I'm Latvian British artist who operates across the Europe. So when I came to Tallinn, it was a new meeting with the city for me as well. I will share the file as well. 1 second. So for me, the Tallinn was new. So I saw it from the very fresh perspective. And I think that the first question why I would like to answer, why to study in Tallinn, as it's amazing city. You can get around very easily. It's very well connected. You can get to Scandinavia, Baltics, across Europe very nicely. It has a very beautiful city, new infrastructure, growing, and very active art scene, as Estonia has been investing in the art infrastructure in last couple of years, I would say very intensively. So there's a lot of happening. So I will just open my file.
Just to support Kristaps, I can say that as a nice fun fact, the Contemporary Art Museum that is very active and the place at Estonian Art Life is actually initiated by the photography students and the professor at that time. It used to be a squat, but at this very moment it is a governmentally supported art institution. So it's always nice to think back what power actually an art student might possess.
Yeah, I agree totally with Kirke that the school life is very connected with a professional career. So again, I want to show this amazing building, which feels very alive in the sense of like this communication between the students and the life inside it. It's very open. And sure, I will a little bit later tell about the studio spaces, how we divide it, and what is the latest news and updates. So yeah, I will start with the program. So the program is called Contemporary Art Program, and we separated the program into 3 blocks. So the first block is art practice and the things related to this. It's not only about the studio practice, it's outside the studio practice as well. And there comes the seminar together with the art practice, which is directed to the environmental anthropology, in a sense that the Baltics, as a kind of like very green place of the Baltics and the Estonia relationship to the sea, is kind of like really reflecting this idea of relationship with nature, how we place us in today's discourses and the contexts. So this is the kind of one of the focuses where the program goes. So apologies. My computer today doesn't love the Zoom so well.
I think one important thing about this program is also that main focus in it, as I mentioned at the very beginning, is actually the author. The students are not, of course, we ask the MA project when you enter the program, but we really try to take into the focus the every individual profile that our students have. So author is actually the I think very important keyword in this program.
Yeah, that's important as well. So coming back to the apologies for the short break. So the program is based on the 3 blocks, which is the art practice, the contextual studies, and art and theory. So a little bit about each of the blocks. So as I said already, art practice consists of your self-directed studio work, in a sense, together with the seminar. And normally we have 2 evaluations in semester. So one of the evaluations is the midterm, which works as a group crit. And the second one is the non-distinctive evaluation in each end of the term. So even if I'm saying that it's non-distinctive evaluation, we still give this kind of unofficial guidelines at what level the student is, giving the student the written feedback and separating low pass, high pass, medium pass, or fail. So on the last block is the art and theory, where in each semester you have a mandatory subject, but you have all this spectrum of the subjects which is provided by the theory department, in a sense that you generate your own menu. They work as an elective subject, so each term you need to choose at least 2 to organize your own schedule around. Either it's the more theory, either it's the more about the practice-based or context-based subject which is provided. And you can choose your optional subjects as well. So sometimes students look at this spectrum and want to choose everything, and they end up with getting a lot of credit points and forgetting a bit about the practice studio work. So that would be one of the suggestions, to kind of like lay out the information and think which of the theory subjects fit best for your practice. And then we had a context. So in the context, we had a group crit. Group crit is ongoing thing as a subject, and master classes and workshops, which is provided by the associate professors of the school and invited guests. So this workshops varies, starting from the very practical things, working about with the kinetics, video, sound, inviting people who work with creative writing, with academic writing, and artist talks as well. And we invite people across the world, across the Europe, and it's been we've been quite flexible lately. Even in the COVID times, I think we've been inviting people from different places in the Europe to sometimes give talks in the Zoom platform, but mostly we try to be very physical, in the sense that this semester being useful in a sense that I think EKA is dealing quite well, that even in the time of restrictions we've been working on in the physical regime. Sorry, my computer a bit froze while after.
I see some questions there at the chat, and one is that the presentation is not moving. You probably, I don't know if it's stopped or something, and also Alex asks if we could give some examples of the recent subjects that the students can choose. Maybe you want to answer, or I can also support in
No,
that.
I can go on with this. I think I will close the image presentation because it kind of like gets stuck a bit. I probably a bit problems with the internet. We had a quite strong storm yesterday. So for example, in the theory, the first semester, the mandatory subject is academic writing. And then as elective subject, you can use the problems in 21st century philosophy, art and theory, design and theory, Estonian culture in Crossroads, if you want to know a little bit more about the country culture and heritage, or exhibition analysis. So these are the subjects which rotate. So you can choose, pick and choose from this menu and modulate your own theory subject choices. For example, in the semester three, as a mandatory subject, you have creative industries, elective art and theory, again, design and theory. So if you don't choose this subject in the first semester, you have a chance to do it in the third semester. Same way with the second year's theory subjects, you can take them either in the second semester, either in the fourth. So another little bit more from the menu is the exhibition analysis, visual literacy, cultural theory, presentation techniques, teaching and mediating, communication and managing. These are some of the subjects in the menu which offers the theory department. So a little bit about the structure. So first 3 semesters we go through this scheme that we have these 3 blocks: art and theory, art practice, and the context. So these 3 blocks go through the first 3 semesters, and on the 4 semesters, any other project subjects are not happening, only if you choose to attend the master classes or take any additional optional subjects and you work towards your master thesis project. Or you work on the theory basis and you work on the practical work as well. During your master thesis development, you can have consultations and book consultations from the PhD students as well. That's the system how you can get the additional support otherwise from your supervisor. I would like to go on a little bit, tell about the supervision and how you engage with your tutor. So the idea is that you meet your supervisor at least 6 times in semester. So these are one-to-one meetings, and we have a great team of the supervisors. Each of them are working in a bit different field. So one of the supervisors comes from the photo department, one comes from the printmaking and graphic design, one is coming from the sculpture, film and movie and sound. We are collaborating very closely with new media, as Kirke mentioned. So this is amazing studio where you can work with sound, which I think lately inspires a lot of students to use this equipment and engage with that. And then we are in very good relationship with the sculpture department, which has a very nice studio just downstairs on the ground floor, on the first floor. So this is the places where you can like really work with a bigger scale things. About the studio spaces, I will try to from this presentation, the internet connection, apologies about that. So about the studio spaces. So first years, when you come to the academy, the first years and the second years has a separate studio spaces in the sense to gain the capacity of an opportunity to make bigger scale works. So the first years are based in the main building, which has a studio spaces in the main building, and then we have we are outsourcing space, and we have another campus space in Ars, which is the artist union space, a little bit further on, 2 stops by train, if I'm not wrong, of the EKA. And the second years, they get even bigger space. I'm very happy that we have this big space from this year called, we call it Raya. There is a monumental sculpture studios where you can really go very ambitious on the scale, use different kind of materials in a sense that, yeah, it's not really limited. And you can really be very, very ambitious. There is a couple of studios which are shared spaces. Each of these spaces, which I was telling about, is holding a project or exhibition space. So I'm a little bit moving on to the activity. So EKA itself, in the main building, has an EKA gallery, where normally it has a scheduled exhibition and project, projects, in a sense that it has a projects running up, but we use that space for the evaluations and the midterms. And we have a project space now in Raya, which is more experimental. Probably Sophie and Johannes will be able to give you a little bit more information about that. I think they've been ones who are at the moment running that space. And we have a event space, which I think is a very unique thing, which is the gallery in the city, in the old town, which is totally run by the students, and mostly for MACA and MACA students, which are Estonian group and international groups of the students. So the students are organizing the open calls, their exhibitions, projects. So they are taking, totally in the control that gallery space, which I think is very, very, very important thing to kind of organize your practice and develop it. So we, as Kirke mentioned before, we have a different kind of workshops and facilities. They were all counted in. So I don't think that there is a medium which EKA can support. The metal work, ceramics, 3D technology, new media, sound, video, photo. I think you have a full spectrum which covers, we have even the workshops which are happening. Like, for example, happening outside, not in every day, but outside the EKA in Raya space, like steel casting, iron casting, apologies. So it's the experience and the skills of the staff members is very various. I think, and everyone is very supportive in a sense that even if you work in the in your MA project, you can reach out to different departments, and they always find a way how to, give the advice, how to plan things. So it's very nice that it's even if it's there's more than 1,000 students in the school, but everyone is kind of in a very tight community. So that is one of the benefits, and I think that is great that the academy is by itself, so we hold these connections, look to each other. It's been very supportive in that kind of sense. So as Kirke mentioned before as well, we have exchange programs, and two which is most popular is the Erasmus. And it doesn't matter if you are the EU citizen or not, you have a chance to use the Erasmus program to study half a year or a year abroad in one of the partner institutions. And we are part of the Kuno network, which covers the Baltics and Scandinavia. Kirke, maybe you can give a little bit more insights about the Kuno.
Kuno is, I don't know, is there anyone amongst you who is familiar with Kuno? Not really. So probably you're not from Scandinavia or Baltics. It's a very active network which gives financial support for the students who and also the teacher, the academic staff. It's very similar to Erasmus in many ways, but I think the support is a little bit more generous. We are connected with all the Scandinavian academies from Norway. There are 3 academies: Finland, Denmark, Iceland, and Sweden, and then Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia. And right now we are having many cooperative projects, and it's also possible to for students to just travel to another academy which has an open course for Kuno students and make their study points in one of the network's academies. So that's great. And last years we also have support not just for student mobility but exhibition mobility, which I think is really great. And we are working with the students right now to make a new art communication format, some kind of Kuno biennial, but maybe not just a biennial, but some kind of anti-biennial, even something really interesting where the curatorial students could cooperate with the network's art students. So I think it's really good network, and you should really use it at its max when you start to study here. I'm at the moment the head of the steering group as well, so I'm just collecting all the good ideas from the students to still develop Kuno activities. Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the presentation running in my computer to be a little bit more technically supported today. So I just wanted to show some of the spaces I mentioned before. This is the arts project space which we use for the final exhibitions. Part of the final exhibition, which is in art space, where is the part where is based the part of the first years during your studies in EKA. So this is the artist union, and there's a professional artist community. This is the exhibition shot from the last year's graduation show as well. There are some students. Some of them are doing a performance. You can see the painting as well. This is a little bit from the this year's evaluations. So this was when we finished the autumn term. So as you see, the sound is kind of very popular media. This is one of the international students as well. This is the MACA. We have from this year, we have these amazing spaces, kind of exhibition spaces, which are across the school. So the students can use them either for their projects, either to exhibit when they have exhibition evaluations. So this is something new and nice which came in during the last year. So this is another install of the sound pits working on the material and then researching it. When the anthropology meets sound. This is another space which we gained this year, and it's called Raya. It has a project space itself as well. So this year was when we took it over. There is a quite bigger scale studios for the second years. And I think that there is a forming community as well. But Johannes and Sophie will tell a bit more as they are part of it. And a little bit about the EKA gallery, as I said, like this is from the install of this year evaluations as well. So it's very nice white cube space, which we use during the semester, but it has a scheduled program as well. So the last thing, and not least important, is that we organize the study trips every year. So we try to organize it to the Biennale type events and going across the Baltics or planning the trip to the Venice Biennale. Last year we did the Helsinki Biennale, before then Ripoka. So these are the things which we include in our program as well, as they are part of your contextual studies. Now maybe Kirke can a little bit tell more about the entry rules and entry exams for this year.
Yeah, for entry, we expect the applicants to send us the most important document to send us would be the portfolio, actually. We also ask a short motivation letter or an essay and a short description of the MA project. Of course, you can be a bit flexible when you present your MA project. It might be really changing during your studies, but we would like to understand that the applicant is really already kind of mature and enough having a ground as an artist already. So this program could be beneficial for him or her. Yeah, we don't, as Christoph explained, we really don't have so controlled study program. We really want it to be as elective and flexible as possible. We expect a BA degree to enter the MA study, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in the art field, or even maybe not necessarily in the cultural study, or in it can be totally why not chemistry background, but you have to be able to demonstrate some kind of artistic practice and artistic language already. So it's not really for beginners, but I doubt if there is any MA program that would really start with technical help. So there are technical experts around you. You can get support all the time, but we want you to already have an aim and understanding and some kind of research or statement as an artist. Then if you have sent those documents, the committee will review them, and the successful candidates will be invited to the interview. We will normally do those interviews online, which is of course natural because applicants come from around the world. But it's also possible to do it in real time, so you can also come to Tallinn. So we will then schedule it accordingly. Yes, that's about it. We will accept this year a little bit more students because we have been so lucky with very good students and quite big interest. So we accept 8 international students this year. As Christoph said briefly, there are actually 2 parallel programs. One is MA Contemporary Art, and the other one is MA Kaasaegne Kunst. So they are really almost identical curriculums, but Estonian language students can have quite a big part of their curricula given in Estonian language. So those theoretical subjects that you saw, they are possible to be taken in. You can take them in either English or in Estonian. There are sometimes some Estonian students who prefer even English language versions of the courses just to elaborate their language skills. And we also offer Estonian language lessons for the international students. But yeah, the interview is very important because we are not going to question your knowledge or something, but we just want to see if this program, this particular way of doing MA, if it's helping every student who is interested. So I think it's good if you ask lots of questions yourself still in the interview. And yes, portfolio. I think we have in the conditions to apply that you have to have at least 5 works there. So yeah, you should do a selection, maybe just show the works that you think you want to continue with, and of course it's good if the portfolio is as communicative about you as an artist as possible. And that's about it. I think the examinations will be somewhere in the middle of March. Maybe it's already fixed. Like, was it 17th or 18th of March, something like that. I now have to look the information. I will tell it in a minute. But that's about it. And yeah, you can ask the questions later, maybe.
Just before we will have a look at the chat questions. I'm seeing that there's some questions coming in. Just before then, I wanted to add that, yeah, about the master thesis project, as this kind of like always makes students quite nervous. So it is good that you try to formulate it, and we don't, as Kirke said, we don't expect that this is going to be your final project. We expect that it's going to change. We expect that it's going to develop. I think by formulating it, you show the way of your thinking, of which of your ideas you evaluate. So it's kind of like giving this example of how of your potential and how the ideas can go on. And in this sense, that one thing I forgot to mention is that in our program, in the first year, the MA students has a right to choose their tutor. So when you're gonna come to Tallinn, not only you will present your practices to your course mates and your professors, but the professors will present their practices as well. So this is the kind of very democratic way of choosing and thinking which tutor your practice would fit best, and it would develop the best. So this is the bit of additional information. I see there was a question about the language skills in Estonia. Well, as someone who doesn't speak Estonian, I can say that with English you can get around very, very well. And I think Johannes already answered that question. And yes, we're going to accept just 8 students for the next year. And we have quite a spectrum of students from different countries. I think that the program has established its recognition internationally quite well. We have students from South America, North America, Australia, Europe, Russia. So it's kind of very wide range of young creatives coming into the EKA. Now I would like to give a word to Johannes to tell a little bit about the student's life and Sophie.
Hey, so I'm Johannes. I'm gonna talk a little bit about maybe our point of view, and I hope that Sophie will also say a few things. So maybe I'm gonna just talk about a few things that Kristaps and Kirke already touched upon. First of all, the size of the art field in Estonia, or like the art, I don't know, art world is because it's, I'm not saying it's that small, but it's the hierarchies I feel are a little bit different than in other places. I also studied in Brussels, and there I felt that really this hierarchical system was a lot more present. But in Estonia, even when you're studying, you can already see that if you're active enough, you can be really an active part of the contemporary art field. Yeah, so, and also with the spaces, I mean, like, I love Raja space, but I know that some people don't. So, I mean, like, that's just being honest. It's a little bit further from the city center. It's amazing. It has this kind of like a park next to it. And the spaces, we share it with like old sculptors and stuff. Okay, there's also like young artists there, but the place actually was built for this kind of like, to do like monumental sculptures and so on. So we have a lot of really nice space there. And right now we're really like almost trying to build this kind of like a new I don't know, community there. So we have this space that we use as a gallery. I think it has like big windows. We don't have that much like technical stuff there yet, but I actually like it. It's this kind of like DIY. We have a lot of freedom there. Even right now, I mean, like with the COVID and everything, I feel that just having this kind of like your own space is quite cool. I would want to also say that like they told that, you know, it's a new study, the contemporary art masters, or it's like, you know, it's just starting in some sense, even though I think it's been like 5 or 6 years. So because it's quite young, I also feel that we as students also have the possibility and responsibility to also change it and also to direct it in the way, or like to the way that we want it to be. So I really see that maybe not always, but sometimes and mostly we have a voice, and I really like that it's not this kind of like only top down, but it has kind of, yeah. Sophie wants to say something.
Yeah, I just chime into what Johannes was saying in terms of the art scene in Tallinn. So I'm one of the international students. Johannes is Estonian. I would say, like, before I go into what I was going to say, I think, like, even with the separate programs, sometimes it does really feel like the curriculums are quite different for the Estonians and the English speakers. But I would say socially it's quite integrated as well, which is very nice. It feels like we are in one program, and I would say there's no real separation between that. I think also as a newcomer to the Estonian art scene, you do feel like you can get a sense for it. Sorry, I have little friends screaming in the background. It's quite quick to get a sense for what's happening here and to feel like you're a part of the scene. I think that's been probably the nicest thing about the move to Estonia, is because you feel like you can establish yourself, but you also feel as if you're becoming part of the community, which I haven't necessarily felt in other, I've lived in a couple different places as well, and this is the only place that has really felt like you can make something for yourself but also be part of that. And I'd say that's very special. I think the school also has a really lovely community aspect, and that's what Johannes and I have been really trying with our friends to do with the space that we have. So I linked the Instagrams for the vent space as well. So that's run quite differently. So it's really so halfway through the first year, there is a new team. So Vent Space is run by the second semester first year and first semester second year, and it's really up to them on how they choose to run it. So I think Johannes was part of the first team and I was part of the third team, and we've just handed over to the fourth team. So I'm not sure how they will decide. Okay, Johannes was in the second. And then almost with the Uzrada space, which is a translation for New Pathways, we've tried to do it. I mean, for the shows that we've done, we've sat down and kind of thought about it and then sent an email and said, have the work there by 1, we'll install together and open at 6. So almost like the most DIY possible, trying to inject a little bit of energy into the program. And I think we're going to start to do that a little bit more. And I think that's been a really useful part of us coming together as a group. I think the first year was not so fun with COVID, but I think that's everywhere. Also, with Raya being far, it's not far if you're used to commuting in bigger cities. I think you become lazy when you live in small places. Like I live, it's just 20 minutes from the school with the bus. It's quite fine to get to the studio. I think as well, there's a really rich context to draw from in Tallinn and surrounding in Estonia. I think the history is very interesting, the landscape's very layered, and it's very easy to find source material from the local area where it's directly in Tallinn or a bit further afield in Estonia. I don't know, Johannes, did we miss anything?
I don't know, but I'm gonna maybe answer something I saw that somebody asked about EKKM. I don't know if there's like exactly, you know, like a collaboration going on with EKKM, but I think, yeah, because EKKM is also, it started from students and it was a squatted space that they then became an institution. They are quite open to collaborations and they're cool, the people there. I mean, like we haven't had anything with them, but I think if, yeah, I don't.
I mean, it's funny because students squatted it and started it. Now it's very institutional. Of course, our alumni, most of them are our alumni or who are working there right now, who run this place. But we have had cooperation, like for example, one graduation show of installation sculpture department was held in Contemporary Art Museum at off-season time. But right now it's a good question because actually we are planning to start cooperate much more. One problem that we still have, I mean, we should be honest and also tell about problems, is that we have a nice, beautiful house, but we lack square meters a bit. So we really don't have. We have a nice gallery, but we don't have as much exhibiting space that we would like to have. So graduation shows is always a problematic topic for us, and we hope to start cooperation with EKA to have the graduation show of MA at least there. But this might happen maybe when you will graduate or something. Not next year, but maybe in 2 years or something like that. So yes, the cooperation definitely is there. We partner up in many things, even like just changing renting free spaces to each other and so on. So there is a communication definitely, and our students are right now partly curating graphic art triennial there this spring. So yeah, we
and
are
Sophie is one of the
Yeah,
one of the artists taking part of the
I will have
exhibition.
collaboration with EKKM. But I can see a few questions about the technical skills. So my BA had no technical knowledge, so I would say I didn't get technically trained. But there's always someone who's available to help you, and it is possible to sample from the BA courses as well. It's just about emailing, and I think everyone's very open to support technical upskilling, which I think is really nice. So I think that if you feel confident in your practice, there is the possibilities to do anything at EKA with the support and the technical facilities as well. It's just about asking and seeking that help out.
I also would want to like, yeah, because I also did an MA in Brussels in Luca School of Arts. And I think the thing that I really appreciate coming back to Estonia was that I think there's just a lower level of bureaucracy in some things, like using I don't know, workshops, getting things done, asking for, I don't know, ideas or something. I just heard yesterday somebody, like the technical assistant of the sculpture department, was a little bit confused, or because a student asked for some plaster, like 10 bags of plaster, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to bring them tomorrow. And he was surprised that the student actually thought that he will get them in like 2 weeks time or something. So I feel there is this really, at least I've had, and I've heard from others as well, that the connection between students and teachers and the technical assistants and everybody is, yeah, it's a little bit more laid back and yeah, personal.
There's a question about like applying from Africa, and I think that we don't have any limitations from where you can apply for. It's international program. So there's another question about studying photography and art film in the masters. And yeah, so it's contemporary art program. As I said, like each supervisor, your tutor, future tutor will cover a different area. So you can collaborate and choose the person from either from the photography kind of more whose specialization in photography, either painting, either performance. So it varies, and you can get extra support from associate professors, because our BA program is built that it works in the certain disciplines, and in the master program we all come together, that if you need advice, support, or extra meeting with someone, you can go to that department and work with associate professor as well, as associate professors has a specific role in the program, which changes, but they're very supportive.
Yes, and I specify once more that currently we have had a system where the student and I mean this art practice part, which is actually almost half of your curricula. So every semester you have to complete 30 credit points, academic points, and 15 of them are the art practice, which is mainly the cooperation between one of the professors and you as an artist. So it's really tete-a-tete, one-to-one meetings. There's a certain amount of face-to-face meetings that you have to do and consultations, but you can also choose or cooperate with different professors doing your study. So you might want to have advices from the installation sculpture professor for one semester, and then maybe next semester your tutor would be, your supervisor would be maybe new media professor or photography professor. So I think this is something that sometimes makes our life a bit complicated, because we have to make sure that most of the professors would still have relevant number of the students. But until now we have managed to do that, and I think it's really helpful for students that they can have different kind of analyses and advices to their practice. Also, actually, now Anu, our new curricula head, she will be the third professor in that curricula. I initiated it 5 years ago, so first 3 years there was Margit Sade, and together with her we had a system where additionally to the tutoring professor, there was a second opinion from one of the or from few of the assistant professors. But with Kristaps and Mark Dunhill, who are doing it for 2 years now, we changed it a little bit. So maybe Anu will have her ideas how to exactly do that. But the important message here is that we are really looking and seeking for the best cooperative platforms, and maybe they have to be changed just according to the new wave or the new course of the students that will be studying. One important thing I think I need to say is that sadly there is a not very big, but still for a student rather considerable tuition fee, and they sadly froze it this year. So I think, correct me, Kristaps, but I think for the European students it's 1,700 per one study year, per one academic year, and for outside of Europe region, sadly it was even more like 2,500 or something like that. So this is something to, of course, consider with. But the good side is, at least until now, it has been that to live in Estonia is still a little bit cheaper than, for example, in Scandinavia. To find to cooperate in renting an apartment or such things, it's definitely cheaper than in US, or at least in the bigger cities of US and in majority of Scandinavian countries. So that maybe eases it a bit. And another good news is that I'm really working on trying to get some scholarships available for students to apply. So with the scholarships we could we could free them from this tuition fee. But yes, it's there as well. And also we do have a dormitory where EKA and Estonian Music and Theatre Academy students are having it's for our students, so you can apply, and almost mainly when you apply early enough you will get a place there. Music students are somehow more active, so I encourage you to do it as soon as you're accepted. But yes. Yeah, are there maybe some questions still about this technical part? Oh yeah, thank you, Maria. The dormitory link is there already. Oh yeah, it was even 2,600 for those from outside of EU. But in EU zone, of course, there is also Switzerland and Norway and so on. It's not just European Union.
I think we are, yeah, sorry, okay, yeah, I think we are slowly coming to the end. Maybe any other last questions, and I think we should wrap it up.
I actually, before even questions and answers, which might now still take forward in your minds, I would like to still give a word to Anu Vahtra, very important person, because she's actually going to be the one who will start working with you. Anu, would you be so kind and just with few, I didn't ask her to prepare a big speech, so I just would be happy if you would say a few words about you as an artist. What has been your focus lately? Where were you based in? I know that you are very internationally moving. Could you maybe say a little bit about you as an artist?
Hi, yes, thank you. So hello everyone, my name is Anu Vahtra. I am an artist. My background is in photography. I studied also in the Estonian Academy of Arts back in the day, also in Amsterdam in Gerrit Rietveld Academy, and now also more recently I did my MA finally in Brussels in Lucas School of Arts, the same place that Johannes was talking about just before. So therefore also I've been for the past 2 years based in Brussels, where I went for the MA program also in order to do it finally, but also to change the, everyday environment and spend time in a different city. So after that, I also did a residency in Wheels Contemporary Art Center, which was kind of a nice continuation to continue working in Brussels. And now, yes, I'm in the process of relocating back to Tallinn, which I'm also looking forward to. And as an artist, my background is yes in photography, but I have been working with photography and installation lately, also more and more using video as part of installation work. And often my practice is site-specific. Now I've been more and more like focusing on urban space and processes that take place there. And at this point, I'm also in the process of getting familiar with the MA program and curriculum. And I'm looking super forward to dive in and have a couple of exciting years of exchange of ideas and experiences with, clearly an exciting bunch of people. So yes, thank you.
Thank you very much, Anu. I'm really excited that you accepted that offer, and I'm looking forward. for the exciting future. And Kristaps will stay with us as well as a professor. So this semester the position of MA professor will be shared by Kristaps and Anu, and the head of the curricula will be Anu Vahtra. So she has hopefully some fresh mind to help her through. And it's also very exciting to think like who of you today here will also join us. I hope to see you all in the admissions. And if there are some more questions now, please let us hear them. Comments, just really feel free. Also, maybe the questions are better to be asked from Sophie and Johannes. They are the real students. We might have another idea what's happening. So yes, and of course, definitely you can always contact us. I'm just writing down my email, and we all have the same address with from @mark, so it's just the name, family name, and then art university art.ee. Oh, sorry, don't write there, it was very wrong. I should put my family name there.
And also, if you have any questions to me or Sophie, you can contact us even with the Instagram, like the Uusrada or something, or I can also just write my email address here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
No, it's the same. Just to echo what Johannes said, I was also in contact with a friend of a friend who was a EKA student, and was talking to her in the lead up to the application process. And I know that all my communication, not just with Kaiser, a graduate of the program, but also with the Estonians at the embassy and during the visa process, it also made the move feel quite comfortable as well. So I have also, if you're a non-European student, the process to move to Estonia would be much the same as it was for me. So you're welcome also to write me with any questions that you might have. But also I think the local embassies are very available in a way that I haven't seen before. So it's something that also makes the transition a little bit easier here.
Yes, so please start to prepare your portfolios, and also I think the really first first thing that that the curricula will have when you start studying already this autumn would be the study trip. And I think it was a plan to go to the Venice Biennale. It's going to be quite special especially for us Estonians, because this year Dutch pavilion or Dutch commissar and crew of Venice Biennale managing decided to give up their gorgeous villa in Giardini Gardens and selected Estonian Venice representative to take their place in Giardini. So we are very curious to see this political happening, because I think Venice Biennale is interesting with its kind of old-fashioned kind of Olympic game format of art sharing. But I think it's very eloquent and in a way very rich that such a format is still there. It gives lots of playground, and it's interesting to think that contemporary art is so open, so analytical, so free, so much trying to be bigger than hierarchical conservative standards of thinking and attitudes, but still in Giardini it's the first time that one of the countries gives away the privilege of being in the most sweet spot in Venice. Germany and France have changed their pavilions, but no one from outside has been taken in the Giardini in the same manner. So I think it's going to be nice. And I think this trip is very good also because you will immediately have an experience to share quite some days together as a group of artists. And this is also very important, not even the teachers and the workshops or studios, but each other. You will have each other, and that's wonderful. Great. There are some questions. If somebody already read them, they can answer. Maria is nicely answering the technical details. Great. Kristaps, has there some things that we still need to share? Definitely to you, our dear audience. Do you have some comments, questions still?
I see that Maria is... Yeah, sorry.
Do you want to say something or not?
I said I saw that Maria has responded to the questions.
One thing I would still mention to make clear is that so Anu will be the head of the curricula, but you will cooperate quite tightly with actually 5 professors. So Kristaps and Anu, who share one position of the professorship. Then there will be Marge Monko from photo department, very active, very socially aware, and fighting for equality, and very smart, intelligent approach inside of feministic discourse of art. So she's the photo professor and also head of the BA curricula photo. So she's one option for tutors. Then Lina Sieb, talking about Venice Biennale, she represented Estonia there in 2011, and she's the head of the graphic arts department. In some way similar interests as like Marge Monko, but she also is about equality in the work area, like also the human geography in a way, and political researches of workers moving countries, and of course she's very rich with her formats, so how she makes art from photo and prints to installative art, video art, also sometimes even performative actions. Then David Alve is head of the installation and sculpture department. Very good professor if you really want to be conceptually clean and sharp and smart and intelligent. He's maybe a bit for those who are more introvert types of artists, but I think he's one of the persons I would ask advice when I would need it. Then there is John Greenish, who is the head of the new media department. He is actually originally from America, and his background as an artist is also sound installation. So this is our kind of tradition that new media professor last changes have been always focusing on sound art, and now painting department. Actually, this semester, the head of the painting department, who should be tutoring from this media side, he will be in sabbatical. So most probably one of the assistant professors would replace him. How to do it, I think Kristaps knows it better. But then there will be Kristi Kongi, a young, very talented, very lively and spatial Estonian young painter. So this is about the main crew that would be working with you. But as I mentioned, there will be lots of assistant professors. There is actually not at all hierarchical difference. Just the obligations that divide our academic staff. also the technical crew of our faculty is full of wonderful artists. I'm really proud of them. So yes, that's something I think that is good in here. I hope Johannes and Sophie agree. Yes. Now some more questions.
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to some of the questions. Anna, you can apply with a background in the jewelry, but think about like how you propose and how you state your proposal for the master thesis. That in a sense, it kind of shows your artistic ambition as well. How are you going to use your knowledge and the skills further on to develop your practice? Are you thinking of moving into the fine art field from the design? Are you looking for something cross-disciplinary, joining this link? So I think that's very important, how you contextualize your background, your knowledge, and what the future plans hold. If there's any other questions and answers?
I think one advice I would also give is that all of our professors are very generous. So if you are working in a certain direction, and maybe if you Google our professors who would be in this program, and you see some similarity or interest, you can probably already contact them and ask some specific questions, or even I think, as much as they would have time, they wouldn't even mind to give some advices beforehand already. So you are important for us. So we are ready to invest some time. A question: can we exhibit other galleries in talking and around Estonia while studying? I mean, of course, you are definitely welcome to apply to galleries. Some of them have open calls. This the same mentioned Vent space, of course, is your place where you can always come to the student team that is running it and approach them. But also we have open call for EKA Gallery every year, where you can propose a project, maybe cooperative, solo show, whatever, and other galleries as well. It's also good to combine some of your activities, like for example when you manage to get the time in the gallery, or even if you start an artist-run gallery in your dormitory room. I don't know if it's allowed there according to the rules, but you should also like combine it with your art practice and show it as a part of it. So we consider all the activity that you have during your studies, and as an artist it can be totally integrated into your studies and collecting the credit points.
Maybe I would also like add to that I feel that because I don't know, Estonia doesn't have that big of an art market, and because of that, I feel that there's a lot of experimenting here, and this kind of like, you know, artist-run spaces, alternative spaces, alternative mediums, playing around with different ideas. It's really, 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 I don't know, everybody's like understanding that, and I feel like it's really part of the art world somehow. So yeah, like this, even like right now, listening to Kirke talking about like create your own gallery in your dormitory. I think that really, for me as well, shows this kind of mentality that it's just play around, try things out, and there's a lot of opportunities and possibilities. At least I feel that. I don't know. Maybe Sophie can say something from an outsider's view, or like.
No, I agree. I think it's a really healthy place. You can just do what you want and you can make things happen. More or less, there will be an audience, even if there is just a few of your classmates. Yeah, I think that, yes, Johannes is right.
There were some questions about still the admission documents. The good question, how long should be this motivation letter? Not really long. I mean, if you would be in the committee, you wouldn't want to read 5 pages of something, and mostly I think we can say what we have in mind with 5 till 10 sentences. So I think you shouldn't really try to woo us with long novel-like text. Just write what you really think, what you think is important. Don't extend the text. Don't put too much melisms or exaggerations there, unless it's really part of you as an artist. But try to be short, constructive, the minimalistic. The quicker you deliver your points, the better. The same goes for the description of the MA project. I think save time there. Just say the main content that you have, and that's it. You don't have to write long text. I mean, sometimes it's really necessary. Then we would pardon that, but I think half a page is definitely enough, and it can be even half of a half.
I can just see that there's questions about exhibiting. So I mean, I haven't done this, but Johannes has had external exhibitions during the studies as well, and a lot of, particularly the Estonian artists, are working at galleries in Estonia and navigating both. There is a lot of flexibility with the program to keep your professional commitments going during the studies as well.
For Jarkko, I would answer. He asks if he already has exhibitions in Osaka, Monaco, Istanbul, and Barcelona, and so on. Is it possible to conclude them in the studies? And I really don't see why not. I don't want to speak for the head of the curriculum, who's actually responsible for your studies. But what we want is that you would develop your current practice. It's not that we give specific exercises and then you have to fill them. We just want you as an artist to develop during your studies. We want you to be able to contextualize what you do, to deliver the concept of it, and find the best artistic output for what you want to do. So yeah, why not? Of course, then you have to take care of this, that the evaluation committee, because in the end of every semester you have to demonstrate your achievement as an artist, so you have to somehow be able to deliver it to the committee. I guess it's normally not the problem if it's just a documentation of the show you did. Of course, we are not accepting exhibitions and things that you already have done, maybe during your BA or another MA degree. So we still want you to currently work. But if you develop something you already started and your project is continuing, of course it's totally acceptable. I wouldn't imagine otherwise.
I think that the main thing when you have a project during your practice studies, so think about like that it's not something what you just need to show to your tutor or professor. We are interested to see how your practice can develop. And in the sense that we want to see the students coming in or not coming just for the diploma, and kind of like we want to see your development. And that's going to be something which we're going to assess as well. How during these 2 years your practice will develop in a way that when you're coming here, think what we can give to you as well, what do you want to find here. And I think that's important. In a sense, if these are the exhibition projects which are already made and the works are made previously, possibly that's that's maybe not the best way how to put it in the process of the study. If that's something which you develop during your studies, we always are happy to see the documentation and include that in the evaluations of the practice. So as we said, we are not looking for the ready-made artists, and we are looking for the process of development and seeing what kind of things you can discover in your practice.
Michaela is asking something. I would also like to know if is it possible to defer an offer of acceptance for a year, but can you specify? I don't exactly get what interests you.
I think my question was answered actually, but thank you.
Okay, great, good, thank you. Wonderful, but yeah, it's somehow sad to leave each other now, but I think our time is slowly running out, and I would give the final words then to maybe Kristaps, or are there some comments, questions? Just stay with us anyway. Write us. We will be really happy to communicate further via emails. But yeah, Kristaps maybe has to take this responsibility of doing a nice end.
Thank you so much for joining today. It's really nice to see that you guys, the programs interest people from the different parts of the world, parts of the Europe, and we are really looking forward for your applications. So if you have any questions, reach out, and we are always very happy to communicate, give some advice. I think while you're preparing your application, think what's best showcase your interest, showcase your current practice, even if you're kind of like thinking that your practice could create another direction of development. I think that this kind of like this proposal, what you're writing, be sincere, don't overflow. We want to kind of see a way how you think, and we want to look into your in the potential how we can support your development. Good luck everyone with applications. Looking forward to read them.
Take care. Right.
Bye everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Goodbye, thank you.
Goodbye, thank you. Thank you.